Angus Taylor has declared his candidacy for leader of the Liberal Party. He says it needs strong leadership, clear direction and a courageous focus on Australian values. On the show tonight, you'll hear what the Shadow Cabinet thinks, with senior Liberals coming on to give their view. Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price will join me in a moment, also frontbencher Andrew Wallace. Angus Taylor tonight said that the coalition needs to protect our way of life and hold the Albanese government to account. He pointed out the Liberal Party is at its worst position in the polls.
The Liberal Party is at the worst position it has been since 1944 when the party was formed. That is a confronting reality and we cannot ignore it.
Angus Taylor called his press conference at around 7:15 this evening. And just before his statement declaring his leadership ambitions, Taylor went to see Opposition Leader Sussan Ley. He told her he was resigning from the front bench. It's a move that had been broadly forecast today.
I don't believe Sussan Ley is in a position to be able to lead the party as it needs to be led from here. I've just a few moments ago tendered my resignation. I will continue to serve the Liberal Party.
Angus Taylor chose his timing carefully. He explained that he didn't want to interrupt the visit of Israeli President Isaac Herzog, and he allowed that to conclude before calling his press conference and declaring his leadership ambitions tonight. The Liberal Party room will likely be held in the next 2 days. Now, many are critical of Angus Taylor. They're sceptical he has what it takes. But something had to give. The reality is the coalition couldn't continue the way it's been going under Sussan Ley. Now, Sussan Ley is a very lovely person and she did a terrific job in the wake of the Bondi terror attack. She stood side by side with the Jewish community. She attended funerals and she sat with families as they mourned. She was at Bondi every day. I saw her. She couldn't have done more. But everyone knows, everyone can see it. The coalition is sinking under her leadership. There had to be a change. It was simply a matter of time. Now, is Angus Taylor the answer? Can he lift the coalition's political fortunes? Only time will tell. But tonight we saw that at length he spoke about Australian values.
We need strong leadership, clear direction and a relentless and courageous focus on our values. As a first priority, we need to protect Australians' way of life. We need to focus on restoring their standard of living.
And he said he's aiming to restore confidence in the Liberal Party. And we know that the Australian public has utterly lost confidence in the federal Liberal Party, in the coalition. Now, we also know that Angus Taylor does have firm Conservative backers like former Prime Minister Tony Abbott. But this leadership change is likely because the polling for the coalition has been disastrous. One Nation is topping the primary vote with working class voters at 34%. I mean, a 34% primary for One Nation is utterly extraordinary. It's a minor party. One Nation is even ahead of Labor and miles ahead of the coalition, according to today's Sky News Pulse poll. This poll also has Pauline Hanson's party sitting close to Labor nationally at 28% compared to Labor's 30%. And then you just have to look at the coalition's primary, which is only 19%. Look, with polls like this, a leadership change is inevitable. It simply has to happen. It's been 9 months now since the federal election in May last year. It was the coalition's worst ever result. Albanese swept in a landslide. And yet now the coalition's polls, their fortunes have crashed even further. 9 months on, they haven't improved. And you have to look at the political climate. This is despite an interest rate rise last week, the first interest rate rise in 3 years. This is despite a terror attack happening under Albanese's watch, after the Prime Minister personally ignored warnings on anti-Semitism for over 2 years. And it's despite the Albanese government's mishandling of energy, a mishandling that's been so severe that power bills have risen. And then there's the numerous broken election promises, too numerous to go into now. So it's in that climate where the Albanese government should be doing really poorly that the coalition has been unable to make a dent and has only crashed further.